Oh, hello.
What's up,
Hello.
everybody? Hello and welcome in, everybody. It's another one of our 110 football live stream shows on our 110 football YouTube channel. LAFC is about a week away from the start of preseason, and we've got some news. We've got some rumors. Let's introduce ourselves.
Let's just state the obvious. See this twinning action going on? This was intentional. I'm Connor Kolopsis. This is Vince LaRosa. 110 football. Welcome in. Come on,
It,
everyone. Good news.
intentional, and we don't even have to. It's cerebral
No,
at this
yeah,
point.
it's in here. It's
Yeah,
intentional in here.
it is weird to me that an 18-year-old has somehow had a link into my brain. I'm sure it's dangerous and very weird for you as well.
Yeah, I won't even talk about some of the stuff that I've seen.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's move on. Like I said, there's been a lot of news with the preseason about to start. It starts actually the 16th. Preseason kicks off, but the first training will be Monday the 17th. We've got some official news confirmed earlier this morning. You guys might have already known it because the bat signal, the hat went out late Sunday night, and a lot of rumors swirled. But it's official now. Ilie Sánchez joins LAFC on a 2-year contract with a team option for a third. He comes to us from Sporting Kansas City, but was a free agent. He's a midfielder, obviously Spanish-born. Played on the Barcelona B team, coached by Connor. Do you know who the Barcelona B team was coached by when he played for them?
No. Who is it?
One Pep Guardiola.
Pep. Oh,
Pep
I've heard
Guardiola.
that name somewhere.
Yeah, that name swirls around in a lot of football circles.
Is he a coach?
He is a coach. He's known for a lot of things, mostly his style on and off the pitch. But let's stop talking about style. Let's talk about some real football, guys. We got a great show planned for you. We've got some great guests. Defenders of the Bank are going to come up later. But with this announcement, I want to bring on a big name in MLS circles. He's a guy that he probably knew this weeks and weeks before. He's going to tell us a little bit more about this signing. Tom Bogert writes for The Guardian, writes for MLS, soccer.com, writes for 442. He's the man. Some people call him Tommy Scoops. I like calling him the Adrian Wojnarowski of MLS. But I love that Tom brings us real rumors. I feel like I have to say real rumors, Tom, because you really put in the work. It's been rumored that you have a burner phone for every single MLS team, and you wear them like a utility belt, like a Batman utility belt. I don't know if that's true. Maybe you can confirm that. But let's dive in. Welcome, Tom. First of all, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I absolutely love the image of me having this belt with like the retro like clip-on flip phones, but just 28 of them. So like I'm just completely cumbersome, and there's like multiple phones on each other. So everywhere I go, you can hear me coming, and it's not jingle bells. It's like, oh my God, this guy from 1993 is on his way.
And I imagine it's got to be such a big undertaking when a new expansion team comes in, because you're like, oh, what's the phone going to be for this one? And then obviously you got to keep them straight. But of course, Tom, because he keeps his sources tight, has the flip phone because high security in that. But Tom, Ilie Sánchez, it's now confirmed. You have a little bit of background on how the timeline of this. You actually just put out an article speaking about Sporting KC and some of the struggles that they're dealing with in bringing in players. Obviously, Alan Polito now we're being told he's going to be out for the year. It's a big one for them. But tell us, what's the timeline of this deal?
Yeah, I mean, well, the SKC stuff that kind of got dropped on us. Like Peter Vermees, his opening 80 seconds, he dropped 5 things that could have been the big news to come from that press conference, and like everybody was so disoriented. Like a few people like didn't even ask questions, like, and even joked like, I was so taken aback, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to ask about. There was so much stuff going on. So that's unfortunate for them. But yeah, Ilie comes from Sporting Kansas City. This was a signing that has been rumored for a little while that they had interest and then made contact, and kind of when Ilie left Sporting Kansas City, which one I was surprised about just because he was very, very good last year. He didn't fall off a cliff or anything. He didn't really lose a step. He played defensive mid and center back when they needed him to, which was super impressive. But he looked like the same Ilie Sánchez to me. So I was really surprised that he was leaving. I thought that meant a return to Spain was happening. When the rumors started that LAFC were interested or then made contact, I thought that made a lot of sense, even though I wasn't really thinking about it because I figured that he was gone. So LAFC getting the signing over the line, like, look, whoever it comes in to play for Edward Atuesta is not going to be Edward Atuesta. There's no way to replace that quality, that impact, that age, that profile, everything. Like, without being a DP, like, there's some argument to be made that they should have, offered him a DP deal maybe to stay, but that's not the model, and that makes sense. That being said, Ilie Sánchez does a lot of the great work in possession that Atuesta does. Like, I can't really think of a better realistic MLS-based player that they could have went and got. And, I guess we'll see what the contract numbers are. Obviously, it's not huge because there is obviously he's not a DP. I don't know what the final number is, but I really like this signing by way of fit and quality for Ilie. And again, I guess it just depends on how well he ages, because last year he didn't fall off a cliff, but who knows, when that last year of his prime is going to be, or when that last year of being a really, really effective player. But look, man, I'm all in on this one.
Yeah, I'll just piggyback off of Tom. Like, SKC, what are you doing? You let go one of your anchors in the back. Not. I mean, he played center back last season, but a solid defensive midfielder.
And to be fair, that was only because it was like crisis with injuries, and Peter Vermees didn't trust a lot of the other options behind next Andre Fontas. But yeah, he will play 6 here.
But there's that versatility there that LAFC much needed last season. So for LAFC, this is a signing that fans should be very, very happy with. This is a hole that was in the LAFC roster coming into this offseason, and John Thornton filled that role. So say what you want, but I think this is a very good MLS experience signing, and I couldn't be more excited. Ilie Sánchez, let's go.
Tom, I'm wondering if you can, along with the timeline, like how quickly did LAFC identify Ilie? Was this even something that was in the works before Edward Atuesta was moved along? And then like you said, you thought you might have been going to Spain. Was there a lot of teams swirling around for him? Like, was this a race to get done, or was LAFC always the front runner in this deal?
Yeah, I don't have a ton of background on this. I'm absolutely certain that they have had him on their board for a while. He seems like somebody who would like again, when the signing happened, it was just like, oh, that makes sense. So that's probably a person that they've had eyes on that they thought that would fit well in the system. I'm trying to go back to other, like Franco Escobar was one that they were like, yeah, we had eyes on him for a while. We thought that he was going to be a good signing for somebody who would fit with us, who might do well with us. And look, now he's available. And like now, same thing with Ilie Sánchez. Now, not only was he available, we had a need. It was a perfect kind of storm of that. And just kind of, I did just go look it up. Ilie made $1 million last year in compensation, which is maybe, I guess, why SKC, maybe the player or the club option or whatever it was would have been something like that or more. So again, I'm very curious to see what the number lands where he is at LAFC. $1 million might be a lot, but again, they pretty desperately needed somebody like this that could play 6. And again, as long as it's not too much allocation money wrapped up in this, then it's a really good signing.
We got a pretty good question from the people in the chat, and it's one of the things that you kind of alluded to. It's tough to replace Edward Atuesta. I don't think LAFC ever imagined that Edward Atuesta would become Edward Atuesta, but they're asking, why is this guy being hyped if he's not better than Atuesta? And you kind of led with that a little bit. Like, you can't replace Edward Atuesta, but where is he a little bit different in your mind? Where does Ilie help? Because as much as I love Edward Atuesta, do you want to bring in the exact same player when LAFC in 2020 didn't do the business? 2021 doesn't make the playoffs. So if just plugging in the same player gets you the same results, then maybe it is good to switch it up a little bit in what Ilie brings.
I don't follow that line of thinking, because I think that had more to do with obviously Rossi being gone, and in 2020 Vela borderline not playing at all, and then Rossi Rodriguez being gone for the playoffs, and then last year it was Rossi leaving in September, Mark Anthony Kaye leaving in July or whatever it was, August maybe, Vela again being in and out of the lineup, Segura getting hurt. Like, there was just way too many injuries and stuff. Like, without Edward Atuesta, they wouldn't have been close to the playoffs. And again, they missed him for however many games. I forget how many games he missed. So yeah, I want to be clear. Like, Edward Atuesta is a better player, and particularly at Ilie's age. But again, he's somebody who can. I was worried about what they were going to do at 6. Quite honestly, I really was. I didn't know where the resources were going to be. I didn't know who they were targeting. Again, Edward Atuesta wasn't a DP signing. He wasn't a really big heralded signing. Like Andre Horta, if you go back to that inaugural season, was supposed to be the guy in the midfield that everybody talked about. And Atuesta was just awesome. So, like, you can't expect to hit on, like, again, he was a DP quality player that they got for non-DP. Like, you can't expect to hit that kind of quality. I thought that there might be an argument that, again, either sign him to a DP deal or target a DP deal for number 6, maybe somebody that you could turn into TAM in the future, but they're pretty intent on signing an attacking DP, as I'm sure we're going to talk about later. But yeah, again, like he's not Atuesta. That doesn't mean that he's not a very good player. But again, this is obviously a drop off from Edward Atuesta, who I think was the very best number 6 in MLS.
Big words from Tom. Tom, so
hot take.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong in any regard in that. Tom, I want you to kind of put your Steve Trundle coaching hat on now that you plug that hole at 6. How are you looking at the way LAFC is setting up? Let's just let's start with just players that are here now. We're going to get into a little bit of what the rumors are, because that's what, as much as I love you coming through with telling us some stuff about what's confirmed, we love much more the rumors, and the fans love that. But let's just talk about what is here now and what you feel the midfield and just the setup that is possible now for LAFC.
The good news, so again, and I don't want to sound like I'm saying very good things about Ilie, but one of the things that I would worry about him is his legs at this age. He's never been somebody who really covers a ton of ground. And now, again, as he's getting older, you don't want him to be kind of stretched too thin as a 6. The good news is Latif Blessing covers ground off the charts, as everybody knows. Jose Cifuentes is a very athletic, like motorized player, somebody who can also cover ground like that. Again, that's not what makes him great, but he's, again, with those two players on Ilie, I'd feel better than, say, if you had, name any kind of cerebral kind of ball playing player. Like, you don't need another one of them next to Ilie. He's somebody who can kind of initiate possession sequences out of the midfield, but you're going to need a couple players who can cover ground next to him. So if Cherundolo is playing a variation of the 4-3-3, and again, he'll have his own spin on everything, but the baseline is going to be roughly what Bob Bradley had, because that's the vision of LAFC, not just from one coach to another coach, but the up tempo, the 4-3-3-ish or whatever it'll break down to be. So again, with Ilie at the base of the midfield, that's somebody who's going to play like, deep lying playmaker. Regista, he's going to be on the ball a ton, and that gives Latif Blessing and Jose Cifuentes both the freedom to kind of buzz around wherever they want and not have to worry about initiating attacks from deep, but also the responsibility to help Ilie out defensively.
And another great comment from the chat is talking about proven players. I know, Tom, when we first had you on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, we talked about how John Thornton's trying to find a balance between, obviously, big name DP signing, young players with upside, but also he more so, and he's been very vocal about it, is we need guys that are winners in MLS. So Ilie Sánchez, your take on being a winner in MLS?
Yeah, they've always been good. And like, he's always been a good reason, a big reason why. Like, again, and Sporting Kansas City, Peter Vermees wasn't quite as much of an ideologue in this kind of tactical vision. But for a lot of the time, they were playing high pressing soccer. Like, they didn't always do that, but Ilie is used to defending in space as a 6. And again, playing center back. I really thought he was going to get exposed as a center back, but he played really, really well at that, which again should bode well for where his legs at. It should bode well for, my defensive questions of him. So again, like he's somebody who fits this system. And as you said with John Thornton, that players who have won in this league and a winning track record. I think he's been here for 4 or 5 years or whatever. One time they didn't do well, and all of the other years they were challenging for the top seed out west. Like, that matters. That stuff matters. He's somebody who's used to this. He's used to this pressure. SKC also have great crowds, great atmosphere. Like, this is a really seamless move, I think, for Ilie and for LAFC. And like, I'm mad at myself that when I saw the free agent list originally, that I didn't just go, like LAFC should sign Ilie. Like, it's something that like I'm mad at in retrospect. It's like watching one of those cop shows or Law and Order SVU where they like drop the hint way early, and like you should have figured it out if you didn't. And so I feel like an idiot for not figuring that out.
Yeah, to reiterate what Tom's saying, the systems between SKC and LAFC, if you don't watch a lot of SKC, very interchangeable, very like for like, as much as you can be in MLS. Okay, Tom, I wanted to transition us to rumors, and to do that, I'm going to give it to my partner in crime, because you dropped the news about Jonathan Rodríguez, and I believe that Connor Colopsis has a very hot take about LAFC missing out on Jonathan Rodríguez. So Connor, please give us that hot take, and then let's talk a little bit about what happened here.
I mean, I'm for one pretty happy that he went to Saudi Arabia. Look, he's a phenomenal player. I'm not saying he's a bad player, and if
don't backtrack already. Go all in.
Don't give nuance.
But look, I know LAFC's goal is to sign DP attackers. It makes for really flashy football, good football, but with Chicho Arango, Vela, although he was injured last season, he's still on the roster. Brian Rodriguez. Do we need someone like Jonathan Rodríguez? I think not. I would have agreed in saying that I would have been happier trying to see a DP fill a midfield spot, because that's been a big issue for LAFC, especially last season, and especially when someone like Atuesta was injured. So do I think that LAFC will go after another attacker DP? 100%. Do I want them to do that? Not at all. So I don't know.
All right. Well, Tom, you were one of the first to talk to John Thornton this offseason, and you were on this trail of they're going to sign a DP, and it's probably going to be a name. Jonathan Rodríguez is definitely a name. What happened here?
Yeah, he just ended up going to Saudi Arabia. From like it was, LFC were interested. Not to be too
Dollar
binary with
bills.
this. They had the biggest offer, and that's what it comes down to. I don't know what the talks were with Cruz Azul. I think his contract was only another year, so it would have been, a transfer fee, but I'm not sure what those talks were. The reporting from South American reporters was that $6 million. I think Jonathan Rodríguez is signing for in Saudi Arabia, which isn't like crazy money. Like, it's obviously a big payday for him, which is awesome. But just thinking about an MLS, this wouldn't be like a Lorenzo Insigne deal where everybody kind of takes a step back. Like, that would have made him fourth, maybe highest paid player in the league last year. Like, again, that's
still top five. Still top five.
Yeah, no small fee, but like, it's not like that offer kind of blew them off the table where it was just like, okay, we can't possibly compete with that. So obviously they had a ceiling that they were comfortable going to, and he got a better offer and a better opportunity, so he went there. But yeah, it was just, I'm kind of with you, Connor. I was kind of surprised that they were so intent on, I guess, definitely want an attacking player, and I thought, okay, maybe that's going to be an attacking midfielder or maybe a winger or something. But like, he's a center forward. He can play on the wing, but he's a center forward. And LAFC already have Chico Arango, so I thought, all right, does that signal maybe a shift in system? But like, how do you play two forwards with Brian Rodriguez and Carlos Vela on the wings without sacrificing too much in the midfield? Like, I was, I guess, just surprised that that was the profile they landed on. And like you said, he obviously is a really, really good player and one of the best in Liga MX. Like, so, and that track record of a player of his quality, profile, everything coming from Liga MX to MLS is like Raul Ruiz-Diaz, Lucas Alrayan, two really, really good players. It would have been a very, very good player, very good fit, particularly in this market. But I was surprised, and I was trying to deduce where that might lead their plans are tactically. If Trundle has something where, again, maybe this means maybe an offer is going to come for Brian Rodriguez at some point. But I don't know. As you say, Connor, I was a little bit confused by that.
I mean, I was hearing that this was something that's been in the works for a while. Predating Steve Trundle. So I'm with you, Tom. I'm curious how it fits in, or if it's one of those things where Steve goes, hey, great players, I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But now kind of pivoting, for those that think that the way this works is LAFC had all their eggs in one basket and they're not even thinking about anything else, I would strongly disagree with you, and I think Tom would as well, having to talk to John. This was just the one, I think the best way to put it is this was the one that they were farthest down the road with and the closest to. But I'm almost going to guarantee that John Thorrington has been having concurrent conversations that maybe just haven't got out yet. Tom, what can you share for us on that front, on kind of where they pivot now?
I can absolutely, with beyond a doubt, say that they are definitely having concurrent conversations and that they have a whiteboard of targets, and that he was not the only one. Unfortunately, I don't know who the other ones are, and they've been pretty good at working in silence, honestly. Like, not a lot has come out. Like, even going back to Diego Rossi, like, the Fenerbahce stuff didn't come out until it was done. Like, he was on the plane going to Turkey. And a weekend before that, I didn't report it until after he already went to Fener, so I don't, like, people didn't really mind or really care. But they had a deal agreed for him to go to Club Brugge, and nobody knew. Like, these are things, like, these are high level things. A lot of people have to be in the know, and like that's one thing that LAFC are good at. Like, Atlanta's another one who are pretty good at working in silence if they think they need to, or
Atlanta just has other clubs outing them, right? That's the problem.
Yeah, particularly when they go to South America, it doesn't take too long. And say that LAFC, like any of these clubs, it seems like it's much easier for things to come out down there. Or even like in a couple of instances, like I remember when Seattle signed Yaimar Andrade, the Colombian club announced the deal was done, and then like I reached out to like Seattle and was like asked about it. They're like, we just agreed a fee. Like, we haven't even agreed personal terms. We haven't gotten a medical. Like, I have no idea why they announced that. So it's not even journalists sometimes. It's the actual official club.
Mm-hmm. Tom, I love that you brought a gold mug. What's in the mug? It's got to be.
I like to think there's nothing in there.
Nothing. Yeah, he's just using it as in between. One last thing before I get you out of here, and thank you so much, Tom, for joining us, guys. You should all be following Tom because the scoops that he brings on LAFC are always very, very, very truthful, and also he covers all 28 teams now in MLS. Jeez, Tom, got to add another burner phone. But one last thing, and like you said, you don't quite know where the names are. One that has kind of popped up, and I don't think it's going to be for a DP deal, but it's intriguing, and I think you know where I'm going. Julian Green. Have you heard anything? What do you think? If you haven't heard anything, what do you just think of that kind of rumor?
I haven't heard anything. I mean, nothing specifically to LAFC. I have heard that he's had, he's not disinterested in MLS. He wasn't, dying to come back. But as of the summer, there was, clubs asking around. There was, okay, he'd be open to it if blank. And maybe I don't think he's been playing a ton for his Bundesliga club that I struggle to pronounce since he helped them get promoted. So maybe that kind of changes the math. And he sees look, maybe it is time to come to MLS. He's still a youngish player in his prime. I think he'd be a good fit for this kind of team. I'd be shocked if he's a DP. If he is a DP, that'd be pretty underwhelming. And I'd assume that it's one of those accounting mechanisms where he's just a placeholder, so a club can save allocation money on him. But I think he'd be a snug fit in this 4-3-3. He's somebody who could probably offer a little bit more goals and assists than Latif Blessing. Maybe not cover as much ground. He's somebody I think would fit pretty well. I don't watch enough of him these days, and we're always going to think of him as the once upon a time Bayern wonder kid who is the German next big thing that we stole from Germany that didn't turn into the next big thing. So a lot of things, just like anything else in life, is about relativity and expectations. Just throw all that out the window. He's had a good career. If they were signing a player if any club was signing a player from the bottom of the Bundesliga who wasn't playing for their bottom of the Bundesliga club very much and was a DP deal, it'd be wildly underwhelming. And it's not something that would happen for any player who's not American. So I don't think that he'd be on a DP deal, but I think he'd be a good player. He just wouldn't be one of those, signings that really move the needle.
Okay, one last question: yes or no before I let you go, Tom? LAFC signs a DP before the summer.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes or no? Stash comes back.
Oh my God, yes. The resounding yes. That's the most confident I am in anything.
I didn't want to mention it just because we always bring it up. But Connor's probably just envious a little bit.
Come on,
I appreciate that.
The fans happy.
Well, Tom, you're awesome. Guys, follow Tom on Twitter for all the scoops at Tom Bogert. Thanks for joining us. Short notice too, so you're the best, Tom. I love having you on. I love getting your takes. And like I said, this is the man that's following up on things. These aren't just rumors. He actually has the receipts here, people. So follow Tom.
Thanks for having me, fellas. Good fun. Whenever you need me.
No problem. Thanks, Tom.
Should we bring someone else?
A lot of info there, Connor. Let's reset for a second here. What was the biggest takeaway from Tom's interview that you have there?
I mean, I think it's the way LAFC works. The fans of this club are not just demanding with on the field performance, but they like the rumors. They like to know what's going on behind the scenes, and LAFC is really good at not letting anyone know what is happening behind the scenes. So in a way, it's a little excruciating, but it's fun when you get just a little bit of an insider scoop. And thank you so much, Tom, for bringing that to us.
Yeah, I mean, fans love rumors, and I understand it. It's exciting. It's fun. Transfer season is silly season for a reason, so I get all that. And you know what? Let's bring in some ultimate fans. Known as the defenders of the bank. Oh. They are ultimate fans, and they do great work with us, and we love having them on. Christian and JR. Guys, let's continue down this rumors rabbit hole. Connor had a hot take on Jonathan Rodríguez. Do either of you want to posit a hot take, or are you guys just disappointed that he's not coming?
I'll go first. I'm not super disappointed that Jonathan Rodríguez is not coming, in that, like Tom was saying, he wouldn't have been the best fit. It's not like it's a huge position of need at this point. But I do think in July it could be. If something happens with Carlos Vela, if something happens with Brian Rodriguez over the course of the season, well, now we're left with, quote unquote, just Chicho Arango up top, followed by, Danny Musovski or Kwadwo Poku, whoever it might be. So I think there we lose a lot of the depth of the quality of our attacking pieces, and especially to hear that it's only $6 million, right? That's not a crazy number, especially with what LAFC is paying Carlos Vela. So I'm a little disappointed, a little not, in that it's not a great fit, but man, it would have been great to see he's Uruguayan, right? The fellow Uruguayan.
Yeah.
It would have been really, really cool. So no, I'm on my lunch break right now from school.
That's so great.
I'm teaching. I love it.
Philly, I want to ask you. I want to play devil's advocate here. If we're losing him for $6 million, which makes him a top 5 paid player, and we're all saying here we're not quite sure if he fits just a hole. He's just kind of a nice, almost luxury player in a way. Did we get it right by not paying him the extra money, or you give the man his money?
Give the man his money. If we're talking $6 million, that is disappointing. And I know a lot of people woke up this morning expecting that cap tilt to be him. We wanted a splashy signing. He was one. He indicated an interest to play at LAFC ever since he scored that goal at the All-Star game. we thought we had him in the bag. We were told we were going to have him in the bag. And the fact that we lose him $6 million to a team in Saudi Arabia, that's kind of crazy. He's a young guy. He's not like 34 years old going to finish off his career and ride into the Middle Eastern sunset. He's 28 with still plenty of good time behind him, and he takes that money to Saudi Arabia. Look, I've never been there, but I can tell you $6 million in LA, he's going to have fun. $6 million in Saudi Arabia, he might save his money because he's not going to have as many options, but it would have been fantastic to have him on our roster. You know, he's good for at least maybe a half a dozen goals, adding to our potent attack. I wouldn't call it a luxury item. I would call it more of a necessity item. And DP at this point needs to change from designated player to don't panic, because that's what we have to tell ourselves with a week before preseason starts.
Well, how does it work for you? I'm curious. I've tried to. I'm not quite on Connor's page where I think it's a good thing. I do think that in the grand scheme of things, LAFC needs to be closing these deals, and it is a statement to the world that we can close these type of deals. And I'm also on the page of, like, you just get good players and you figure it out. That's what good coaches do. But I continue to have to wrap my brain around, like, 2 forwards. Wait, is Carlos Vela playing the 10? Is Carlos Vela not even there? Wait, if Carlos Vela's playing the 10, where's Brian Rodriguez? And I get people telling me, oh, Brian can maybe play wingback. I'll guarantee you Brian Rodriguez is not playing wingback ever, ever, ever. So how would it have worked for you, Philly? How would you put the pieces on the chessboard?
Well, to me, until Carlos Vela proves that he can stay healthy, I still kind of view him as the next factor. I would say with Jonathan Rodríguez, at least, you know, he's got a clean bill of health. He would have gone out there and he would have done his thing. Carlos Vela obviously being injured, not having played much these past couple of seasons. With Brian Rodriguez, well, the jury's still out on him, and unfortunately the jury's been out on him since the day he signed for this club. The only guaranteed goal scorer that we would have had is that in Chicho Arango, and we see him had a marvelous performance, scoring as many goals as he did since joining the team in August. I think he would have fit in quite nicely, because to me, I love Carlos Vela. I love what he's done for this team, but obviously there's so many question marks surrounding him and his ability, and more importantly, his willingness to come out there and give all what he can to kind of even get close to replicating his 2019 season. We're never going to see anything like that. We may never see anything like that in Major League Soccer again.
Well, then
however, we still need. What's that?
Why pick up his option? So if that's the idea, and Carlos Vela, you don't pay an X Factor player $6 million. I don't care what Carlos Vela has done for this team, what he could possibly continue doing. If he is still considered an X Factor player coming into this next season, you don't pick up his option. You don't pay him $6 million. You pay Jonathan Rodriguez those $6 million.
Yeah,
I'll disagree. You guys say that $6 million isn't a lot of money. It's a lot of money to the owners. And that being said, I think for a player like Jonathan Rodriguez, who isn't filling a hole, you don't pay $6 million for a player that's just a luxury player. I don't understand it. We're not just going to throw away money just to make a splash. We're going to throw money to something that actually matters. So that's
Connor, have you lived in Los Angeles your entire life? That's what we do here in LA. We make the big splashy signings. We throw good money after more money.
Who's we? Who's we?
Look at all the sports teams in Los Angeles. Furthermore, have you been on LAFC's website? Brian Rodriguez currently listed as a midfielder. Maybe that shows you something about what they're thinking about doing with Brian Rodriguez
for this next coming
season.
It's on the website.
Wait, can I just do a little administrative thing here? The website and the positions and those things are actually controlled by MLS, so blame them.
I hear you, but what I'm saying is maybe we've got Sifu on one side, Brian Rodriguez on the other, Ilie Sánchez, who, by the way, spent last season passing it at almost an 89% clip there in the midfield. You've got Brian and Sifu on the wings there. You've got Vela and Chicho Arango up top. I think we've got so many fun options that we can do with maybe going back to a 5-3-2, that little wrinkle that we had so that we're not worried about 3 guys moving forward with Chicho on one side. I think that we can still maintain our offensive output, even though we're losing a player like Eduardo Tuesta, who really does bring that offensive side to being that center midfielder, and Ilie Sánchez, who's much more of a center defensive mid. But I think we've still got plenty of options. Again, though, it would have been real nice to have 3 up top, being one of those being Cabecita, and then having Brian Rodriguez maybe come back and play midfield on one of those wing sides to give you 4 attackers moving forward at all times.
I will say, though, I am not disappointed. I'm glad that we are moving on to another target not being Cabecita. I will say I'm a little disappointed that we weren't able to get a deal done that we all know we were very close to getting done. If that's what happens, you better believe LAFC should be getting these deals across. Do I agree with the idea behind the deal? No, but we should have locked it up.
Right. So you're assuming hopefully it's a different profile. Here's going to be my hot take for this. Ilie Sánchez is more exciting than Cabecita would have been, because I'm just thinking about how this works on the field, and I'm thinking about how Ilie Sánchez plays. He's a balanced dude. Like Steve has talked about, we're going to do the things that LAFC used to do, but he keeps always kind of like winking and going like, but with a little bit more balance, with a little bit more defense and a little bit more of these things. And when I think about what Ilie Sánchez does, he plays in that mold more of a Busquets than an Edward Atuesta, which I was trying to needle Tom a little bit, but he was right. Look, Atuesta probably is top 3 player in MLS, right? When he's on, when he's not injured. So I get it. You never want to lose that guy. But the profile of Ilie, a guy that is just going to plug himself in front of the defense and let the horses run, let the Sifus run, let Latif run wild, let Ejori Chisori Shroudy, Carlos Vela, whoever is this new DP run wild. I'm super stoked about the balance of this. And I know that I'm going to get called a homer because it doesn't matter what I say, I'm a homer. But I really think that this plugs into LAFC's lineup better than, to Connor's point, a center forward.
And Vince, you're talking about a guy who's played with Gianluca Busio, with Daniel Shalhoub, with Johnny Russell, with wings that love to move forward, with offensive players on a couple of the different lines that he's used to playing with. And we already mentioned it. Tom was talking about it. You were talking about it, how similar the systems are that Sporting runs and LAFC runs. I think it's a great fit. And again, if people are looking at it as the replacement for Edward Atuesta, in that he will literally be playing the 6 like Atuesta did, sure, but they are 2 very, very different players. And I love what you're talking about with balance. That is exactly what Ilie Sánchez brings. And again, dude is a 90% passer almost last season.
Mm-hmm. Philly, you are a resident German correspondent. First of all, please pronounce Julian Green's team for us. It has letters that combine into other letters. How does this work? How does that work? It's like Gurther. What is it?
Gurther Fürth. Like the U has an umlaut, so it gets pronounced as an Ö. So good luck with that. I don't even know how to pronounce it. I do know he played at VfB Stuttgart, though.
I want to hear it one more time. That was fun.
Stuttgart's an easy one.
Gurther Fürth. I don't know. I honestly that's not a team that I follow in depth. I was more familiar with Stuttgart and obviously with Bayern Munich. I just wanted to chime in real quick on
Sanchez. But you're not that far of a hipster. No one follows that team unless you're super, super, super hipster.
Oh, seriously. I mean, the only Bundesliga 2 team that most people know and follow is St. Pauli. So let's get that straight.
Fair.
As far
What's your
as
take on Julian Green?
What's that?
What's your take on Julian Green if he is in fact a possibility?
I mean, is he though? Is he a possibility? I don't think he is.
Not as a DP. I don't think as a DP.
No, of course not as a DP. I mean, he's kind of been on a downward trough ever since he hit his high at Bayern Munich. He's no longer das Wunderkind as he once was. Maybe a high TAM signing, pay him somewhere along the lines of what Adama Diomande was making, probably. But again, looking for that splashy signing. I don't see this as a thing coming into fruition. I view it as a Rupert Murdoch Sun tabloid banter conversation to have, if anything. I don't see him coming to LAFC, but if he does, hey, more power to him. Just definitely not as a designated player. He's 26. He's still a young kid, but I don't see him as a player that's going to be donning black and gold anytime soon.
Okay, I'm going to give you guys the Tom Bogert last question before you go, the yes or no question. But guys, please be sure to follow both JR and Philly and Defenders of the Bank. Amazing podcast. They will be back all season. We love having them on. JR, I'm going to go to you first. Yes or no, DP before the summer?
No.
Philly?
Yes.
Oh, looks like you two. Looks like some marital strife. You two have something to work out as you get off.
Can we just sign a goalkeeper, please?
Seriously, plug that hole in, please.
No matter what, there has to be a goalkeeper signing. But you guys have been great. Philly with the Topo Chico. Good shout. I need to get one of those.
Sponsor us, Topo.
Yeah, sponsor all of us. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for joining us. We'll have you guys in again, and we always love having you. So, Defenders of the Bank, everybody. Goodbye, guys.
Later, y'all.
Bye.
All right. So,
I'm back.
Oh yeah. Hey, Jason's hot on that button. He was trying to take you out.
Yeah,
I hear we have one. I hear we have one last surprise. A man that never likes to RSVP for things, but just shows up anyways. The voice of LAFC, Max Bredos, is here. There he is.
Hello, Maxie.
Hold on, let me fix that. Is that better?
Yeah, still not learning what landscape is versus vertical. But
wait a minute, because I can't hit the buttons on my phone when it's like that. I have to go scroll down there. So if I turn it upright, I can see it okay.
Maybe
I'm
next
on
time
your side,
join
Max.
us on your computer.
Vince,
thank you.
Not so much.
There we go.
I'm just saying, maybe join us on your computer. What candy?
There's a lot of
reading
football
today?
going on. I was having some milk duds.
Oh, great. All right, Max. What do you want to talk about? I'll let you go where you want to go. I don't.
What
try
were
to
you guys
control you.
just talking about? Julian Green?
It's been a rumor.
I mean, we
Kevin-
have
from-
to talk
from-
about it. It's
from
110
the-
football.
From the
Of
Los
course.
Angeles paper of record, the Los Angeles Times, Kevin Baxter has put it out as a rumor.
The best
Yeah.
reporter on the best journalist on the face of this planet, by the way.
Yes. Well,
hashtag Maxon and Snackson, by the way. Milk duds.
I was tuning into the Greg Berhalter address on Monday about the January camp, just an update. He got the first question out of the queue, Kevin Baxter. So I mean,
How does he do that?
And and Berhalter name ID'd him and goes, "Hey, Kevin," and he even said, "Great question, Kevin." Afterwards,
Do you think it's like alphabetical because his last name was a B? Do you think
Possible.
It's always
that's possible, but I mean, I think generally in that they do reserve those first few slots, just like the White House briefings to the top tier folks. So Kevin Baxter is certainly considered there. He's keeping up appearances.
Max,
Maybe Berhalter likes him.
Maybe Berhalter. Who knows who Berhalter likes? But he seems like a very genuine, nice guy. Actually, Max, were you there? Were you there at the facility when Berhalter came through to hang out with us at the PC?
I don't think so. I don't think I was.
I was tucked away into like a random area, and I felt someone tap me on the back, and he's like, "Hey, thanks for everything." And I turned, it's Greg Berhalter. I was like, "I didn't do any. Okay, bye." And just like that, he was gone. So he is a nice guy.
He's a good dude. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Max, you keep your finger on the pulse of South American soccer. Cabecita, he's gone. We will goodbye to Saudi Arabia. What are your thoughts on this?
Wait, that's official?
Yeah.
It's official. Yep.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
Why did I not see that?
Look at it. Look
at it
right here.
right there on
Max.
screen for you.
Right here.
Yeah.
Al-Nassr. Okay, when did that come down? Today?
No, it was yesterday.
Yesterday.
How did I miss that? I apologize for missing that. I've been trying to put my head in the sand with Cabecita because I've been hearing these things. So that is it's disappointing because that's obviously someone that was being mentioned here for LAFC and would have been a great fit. And look, there's a lot of connections. There's a lot of ties that bind with regards to Cabecita and LAFC through his Peñarol days, coming through to even a Cruz Azul connection. LAFC playing Cruz Azul in the CONCACAF Champions League. So, wow, I'm just a little. So it is what it is.
Wow.
Hey, there's a lot of money in the Saudi. I don't know.
Max is emotional. Look,
I know we're like seeing like
emotion.
someone's real first reaction to this.
I know. I've been on. I get on. I read articles. I watch game after game. It's always on my house. My wife hates it, but it's just part of the profession here. So you keep pretty active while I'm on the phone and doing stuff. Generally, I'm here at home. And I guess you kept hearing these reports, and you figure there was some truth to it. But lo and behold, I mean, there's a lot of money in a lot of leagues that you really can't compete with in many ways. It's cooling off in China. I know the Chinese league was doing that, but that's really cooled off. But there's still
done in China.
It's cold. It's ice cold.
Yeah.
So that
when you got Juan Quintero trying to come back, it's over.
But
unfair.
On the bright side, we don't get Cabecita, but we do get Ilie Sánchez.
Great addition. I mean, you look at the additions that LAFC have added. You want a DP addition, just maybe, as I heard you guys with the defenders of the bank about being the timing of a DP. So Ilie Sánchez, you always rated him. He's always in the team for Sporting Kansas City. He always found a spot to play, whether it was in the back of the midfield or as a central defender. I actually had a chance to talk with him yesterday. And wow, I think everyone's going to love him. He perfect English, really agreeable. Name ID'd everyone on there, like some of the folks that were involved. And I asked him what kind of position he will play. And then he swung his arms up and he said, all I'm saying to Coach Chirundolo is I'm available for selection. So that's a guy that I think is going to see a lot of games in several positions. But ideally, you see him in that position with filling the void that it's going to be a void with Eduardo Atuesta, unless the midfield starts to look a little bit different. So with him and Escobar and Tajiri Shroudy, 3 MLS veterans, which we were really lacking. Remember, we were screaming about it when we signed Sebastian Ibiaga. And now you have guys with championship medal, a little bit of a mean streak. Yeah. So we don't have that. So these guys will They will be big additions. But I know everyone's not going to be satisfied unless they add a DP. But you've got the midfielder, winger. You've got also another defender, a hybrid defender.
We're just waiting on the goalkeepers now, Max.
Yeah, I know that they've been looking at guys. We've got to figure out who those guys are exactly, and now they have to kind of figure out who they're going to take, who are they going to look at for that DP. Because even if it is in the summertime, that starts now, and it's hard to imagine if with pickings getting pretty slim out there for a true bona fide DP you don't want to overpay for that you'll be able to go get right now if you're LAFC.
So you said that word, the summer. So I think I know where you land on maybe the question I've been asking people. Are you starting to feel like it's going to be a summer DP signing for LAFC now? Was it this all eggs in one basket, do you think? Or what do you think on that, Max?
I would never say it's all eggs in one basket. I'm sure that they had options because they know the nature of the beast. They know the reality of this of what is out there. They might push that off and get a stopgap measure, be creative with some of the allocation money to get someone that could probably haul in a lot of goals and do those kind of things in an LAFC attack. I will say, and the team as is looks much improved, looks really good, and pending on Carlos Vela and how Brian Rodriguez approached the beginning of the season. But you have these pieces in set, all these guys a year older, a year wiser, that tell you it's going to be good. But I know people will not be satisfied unless you have that proven goal scorer to share the burden with Chicho Arango.
But I don't think
Carlos Vela.
I don't think anyone needs to share that burden with him. He was breakout season last season. If Vela and B-Rod are back, we're talking about Cabecita coming in. Okay, what if he is just a depth player who's obviously going to start, but to not relax, Vince.
You said that depth player word. Sorry, freaked me out.
No, to make the forward positions more deep, not just to sit on the bench. But I would disagree in saying Opoku, Danny Musovski. We added Ismail Tajori-Shrani. If Vela were to be out a little bit more, would Tajori-Shrani be able to step up? I do think so. And that's why we signed him. So I don't agree with this whole Cabecita narrative that we need a proven goal scorer.
Well, we'll add that all three signings are proven trophy winners. Escobar, yes. MLS Cup. Tajori-Shrani, MLS Cup. Ilie Sánchez, a U.S. Open Cup with Sporting KC. So these guys come in with silverware. They come in knowing how to win in the not just – look, I'm on board of saying I love the Supporter Shield. I love what it means. I love what it means for an entire season, especially now that this season we're going to go back to playing some more Eastern Conference teams. It's going to be much more balanced. But these guys specifically know how to win when it comes to your knockout tournaments. And you can't undervalue that, right, Max?
Absolutely. And again, we didn't have that. We didn't have the lean in and showing, hey, how to get there. What do you need to do? What these guys do in the locker room. And we talked about all the time, and we thought about it with who could fill that role. And there was a couple guys, but they weren't playing. This is as much. We saw Jordan and later on with Benny Feilhaber before he parted ways. By the way, congratulations to Benny for getting the SKC2 head coaching job. And I also love how quickly you posted that Al-Nassr tweet when I brought up, and I was, what happened? And you had it ready there. Look,
yep, there it is. There it is again.
Look at that crappy animation. What's going on?
We're wrapping it up here, Max. Let's because we've already asked you kind of, will they get a DP now or in the summer? I want to ask you this instead. What profile or position should the next DP come in, or where do you think they'll go for a DP? Is it a center forward? Is it a mid? Is it a winger? Where do you think it's gonna land, or where should it land?
I mean, just looking at the history of this club at MLS, it's going to be an attacking player. So it could be a center forward if they want to play a little different formation-wise, and knowing full well that Chicho's going to eat up a lot of minutes and hopefully keep scoring close. I don't think he can match the clip he scored last season during that stretch, but if he can get close to it, that is fantastic. Having a really good winger always worked. So if there's a guy out there that can come in there and stretch the field like a Diego Rossi did, that just benefits this club because the proof is that worked in its heyday, and it's crazy to call it that, but that's where it was when we look back at 2018 through 2020, early 2000, really most of 2020, I should say. And then it's time to move on. But having a really pacey guy with the technical skills out wide, I think would make a lot of sense right now because we'll see what Tajori-Shrani can do. As I don't want to overlook Amahala. Thanks for bringing him up, Connor. I think that's a valuable addition. That's a valuable person to have inside the stable as well. But there isn't anyone like Diego Rossi, so I think that would be the top of my list right now for LAFC.
Pace. I like where your head's
And
at.
like
Pace.
what you pace.
Stretch
and like
the field.
And remember, like what you said about the other thing missing, obviously goalkeeping and veteran leadership, and you get that in 3 different cases. And I think Ilie Sánchez is really going to be the guy that will lead the way. And having been able to chat with him, you could not have been helped but being mesmerized on how comfortable he is in his own skin and how excited and all business that he is to take this new role. But we do need some pace.
Need some pace. And a little thing that kind of goes under the radar that you brought up with Ilie right away was he speaks perfect English. I'm sure he speaks perfect Spanish. It's a big deal. It's a big deal sewing the team together. As we know, a lot of guys are kind of mixed in those languages. So that's a big deal. So thank you, Max. Thanks for always joining us just out of nowhere. I know I don't have to put you down on the list because I know you'll be here sooner or later. So thank you for joining us, Max.
Okay, welcome. Good job.
All right, there goes Max Bredos.
Cut him off really quick.
Jason did that. He probably had so much fun.
He's really trigger happy, Jason. Jeez.
All right, Connor. So final opinions. We've added it all up. Do you feel better after this talk? Do you feel? I feel like I feel like there's more things up in the air than when we started, because now that I'm getting all these opinions, I'm feeling a lot of emotions.
But that's the frustrating thing. I can sit here and say that I think Cabecita would not have been a good option because we need to strengthen other areas. Mm-hmm. The fact of the matter is, I don't know what LAFC's plans are. I don't know what other moves they could be already have in place or are planning on putting in place. So I can only go based off of what we know is official, and what we also know is that there are some holes to plug. But do I think John Thornton will plug those holes? Yes. I would hope a DP would fit a slot somewhere in the middle. With Ilie Sánchez coming in, do I think it should be a 6? Probably not. Do I think we have the 8 spot pretty covered between Sifu and maybe even Pancho? Yeah. Maybe a 10. Maybe an attacking midfielder. You know what I mean?
Where does Carlos Vela fit then there in that point? Or is he not in your equation anymore? He's not your 10? He plays a 10 from the wing.
I mean, yeah, but maybe not like a traditional 10. Maybe an 8 that is a little more attack minded. I don't know. I just think there's a hole in that midfield, and I don't really feel too comfortable with Latif blessing Jose Cifuentes, even with Sanchez coming into the picture. So, look, do I know if Vela's going to re-sign a contract? No. Do I hope he does? Absolutely. Do I still think he's got it? Absolutely. So yeah, I don't know.
I think the 6 is taken care of. You have Ilie. He's proven that he's rugged in this league. He almost starts almost every game, logs a ton of minutes. Then you have Sifu, who can kind of play a 6 if he needs to. You still have Cheeky, who can play. We saw some interesting things from 6, so I feel like that's plugged. I flip-flop between this because I think an attacking mid that can score some more goals to go with Sifu is an interesting idea, but after talking to Max today, pace. Can't teach pace.
Do you not get that from Jory Shrani?
You do a little bit, but is he more of a depth piece? I'm just saying if I'm picking a DP and I'm picking a guy that's going to start week in and week out, I want pace.
But then who do you
Brian Rodriguez doesn't.
So who do you take out?
Well, that's the coach's problem. I love when people say like, "Well, who's going to play for this guy? Who's going to play?" You want competition.
Of course, you want competition. I just need to be realistic, and if you're going to be spending millions of dollars on one player, you better believe that the other player that's making millions of dollars are all starting on that field at the same time. And I don't want to see someone like Chicho Arango not be on that field because he's been so good. So I don't know. It's weird, but it's a good problem to have if you're thinking who out of all our great players are starting on the field today. So
it's a great problem to have. That should be the title of LAFC, a good problem to have, 2022.
Hashtag
2022. All right. Well, that's it for us.
My final thoughts.
Final thought.
Just sign a goalkeeper already. Just find one. I don't know. There's probably a bunch of good free agents. Get David Bingham. No, I'm kidding.
Oof. Sadly, there's not a bunch of good free agents. David Bingham just signed for Portland.
I don't know. Yeah. Oh, did he? Ew.
Good answer.
And last but not least, I just want to say thank you to Raheem Edwards for nothing. You were dead to me, Raheem Edwards. You joined Carson. I don't like you anymore. I don't care that you're Canadian. hate
What do you guys think about Raheem Edwards, Jordan Carson? Well, here's what I think about it. He's on the supplemental roster. That should tell you all you need to know.
It's no, you know what? This is the Galaxy. If you can't, if you can't be better than the other team in Los Angeles, then you just sign the really shitty players. Yeah.
Language.
It's on the 110. It's on the 110 YouTube channel.
It is on the 110 YouTube
He had
channel.
one
You're
good
right.
game against the Sounders, and everyone was like, "He has grit." No, he sucks. He's like a baby deer, and now he's joining the worst team in California.
Look, if that's their big marketing signing, then even better for us. They have a DP slot open too. They've done nothing. No
They
rumors.
signed, like
Nothing.
Kelvin Leardam. He was good maybe like 4 years ago. Have you seen him play with Miami? My God.
Yeah. All right, that's way too much Galaxy and or Raheem Edwards talk. So we should get out of here.
I just
Thanks
needed
everyone.
to get that out.
You need to get that out. Okay, thanks everyone for joining us. This has been awesome. As news happens, we're trying to do these all the time. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I don't know where it is. We keep pointing. It's fun. Now I look like I'm dancing. Someone clip that. But subscribe so that you get notifications of when we're going to do this. Obviously, follow us on all our social channels at 110 Football, Instagram, Twitter. I think we even have a Facebook. I don't go on there, but I think we have a Facebook. Yeah, we have Facebook, so you can keep up with us. And then, guys, the preseason starts in less than a week. So it's happening. We finally get to talk about stuff on the field. Thank God. Thank you, God. I'm so sick of talking about rumors. Yes, I get to talk about things on the field. So I'm excited. As we all know, everything is only going to be important if it happens on the pitch. That's what's going to make you guys all feel better. I'm 100% with you. So I'm excited to talk about stuff on the pitch. Thank you, everyone that joined us. Thank you, Tom Bogert. Thank you, Defenders of the Bank. Thank you, Max Bredos. Thank you, Connor Colopsis.
No, thank you, Vince. Thank you.
Despite you cursing and trying to keep us from getting our.
I just don't like Raheem Edwards. But thank you, everyone, for watching. Appreciate it. We'll be back soon.
We'll be back soon. All right. See you guys soon.
Awesome.